Arkham Asylum is one of the Batman games of all time, and one of the games that scared me the most as a child, in large part because I didn't expect a Batman game to be scary. I'm a frog, and I haven't played Arkham Asylum since around when it came out and I was still a child, so for this video, I wanted to play through it again and do something I've never done before. 100% the game and get every achievement. I'll explain what those achievements are once we get into it. Let's hop in. My journey began with me starting a new game, turning on subtitles because I'm deaf, and choosing a difficulty. Like I said, I haven't played this game since probably like 2010, so I of course chose to play on hard. In the opening cinematic, we see Batman driving Joaquin Phoenix to Arkham Asylum. That's like the name of the game, oh my god! Once there, we meet the guy who voices half the characters in Star Wars The Clone Wars. The Joker is put on a chair thing, and the playable game begins with me walking slowly through hallways alongside Joker and a couple Detroit threat management officers. Along the way, we see Killer Croc.
I've got your scent, Batman. I will hunt you down.
I have no idea why this thing is being held in a facility instead of just getting executed. We get another cutscene where I was thrown off by Commissioner Gordon being built like a fullback. We hand off Joker to a couple guards whom he easily overpowers. Harley Quinn is at a computer somewhere playing cool math games, and I get my first combat of the game. I'd never played on the hard difficulty before. The first thing I had to get used to was that when an enemy is attacking, there's no indicator over their head to counter. It's entirely just feel. I did get my first achievement of the game in this fight for getting a 5x free flow combo. It's not much of an achievement though, and it's so easy to get that if you struggle with it, it may be time for you to give up video games. I noticed a vent in the corner of the room and pulled the cover off while guys were still punching me. Then after taking care of them, I crawled in the vent to find a Riddler trophy. There are 240 Riddler challenges in this game, which include finding the hidden trophies, solving riddles, and more stuff. You get achievements as you solve more and more challenges, and there's a final achievement for completing every challenge. And obviously, I'll need to complete every Riddler challenge anyway for the big 100% the game achievement. I pushed further inside Arkham where I bataranged Mechanical Teeth, which is another Riddler challenge, fought a few more Patriot Front, then talked to a guard who got a request for backup, so I went on my way. Throughout the game, you talk to Oracle, who's Commissioner Gordon's daughter, and like the Batman version of Cortana, except instead of being an AI, she's just a chick at a computer somewhere. I found the guards who needed help and learned that one of them was being held hostage by Maynard James Keenan, so I sprung into action by grappling up on scary-looking gargoyles above him before flying down and giving him permanent brain damage and giving myself another achievement. Harley Quinn came on the TV and looked slightly different than her Lego Batman counterpart, but more importantly, she had the warden tied up, which is less than ideal. I found another Riddler trophy hidden in a vent, then pulled another vent off the wall to progress in the story. And look at that, another trophy, this one not so hidden. We're gaming. I came across a few guards experiencing firsthand the dangers of smoking too much marijuana, so I snuck through more vents and saved a couple that were hanging on for dear life, as well as one of the escaped inmates.
Oh, thank you, Batman.
Rescuing these guys got me another achievement. I walked through a door with a smiley face on it, and inside Joker was on top of a big box talking trash until he opened the box, revealing Joey Swole, who was not happy with me. I had no clue how to take these guys, called Titans, out at this point in the game, but there is an achievement for beating one without using batarang, so I tried to not throw any and was getting wrecked. What is bro doing? Thankfully, the game bailed me out, and TRT Boy had a heart attack, ending the fight. Even though I technically didn't use any batarangs for this fight, this doesn't count for that achievement, but I did get a different story achievement for getting through this fight. Joker gave Batman a chance to kill him, which Batman didn't take because he doesn't kill people.
I would never take the life of another, for I am
Batman, look out!
the Dark Knight.
Then we get taunted by Joker a minute later, who shows us a tape of a guard capturing Gordon, which can only mean one thing. Gordon is the Arkham Knight. I traveled back to where Gordon was captured, scanned the bad cop's spilled hip flask, and used a chemical trail to track him and the Joker. Harley Davidson blew up an elevator and I needed to climb up the shaft, but first I found an interview tape, which is another one of the Riddler collectibles. There's a bunch of them all over the island for a few of the major villains. While climbing up the elevator shaft, I found another type of collectible, a spider on the wall, which after scanning gives you an audio message from the Spirit of Arkham. There's 24 of these in total I'll need to find. I fought a gang of bad guys and let them take my health down dangerously low because I was still bad at the game, but to this point I still hadn't died yet. Would I be able to get through this entire game deathless? Stay tuned to find out. Spoiler alert, no. Next up, the most fun part of the game was introduced. A few inmates had automatic rifles, so rather than take them on head on like an idiot, I grappled behind them and took them out silently like Batman in the movies.
Where are you?
I'm a frog. The next big room expands on this, where there's a whole squad of guys spread out for me to take out stealthily. This group is easy though. But then the Joker sends in another group. This group is also pretty easy to take out, but I appreciate the effort. And sections like this are my favorite part of the game for sure. I love this stuff. Joker realized we were tracking him by following the crooked cop, so he left him for us as a present, Rip Bozo. Then the Riddler calls and introduces us to another challenge, riddles. Each area of the map has its own riddle that you solve by scanning something in the environment.
Don't cut yourself on this sharply observed portrait.
After going over this riddle for several minutes and discussing with my colleagues at Frog Archist headquarters, I scanned the portrait of Warden Sharp to solve it. Stone Cold Steve Austin gave me the rundown of what happened. I traveled through another corridor and found my way to the surface of Epstein Island, where I was free to explore. This also got me another achievement. There were still guards around, so the island wasn't completely overrun by bad guys yet. This would soon change. I came across a few Redditors vandalizing Batman's Tesla and engaged in hand-to-hand combat with them, where I unlocked not one, but two more achievements. First for getting a ×10 combo, and then a second for getting a ×20 combo. Throughout the game, you unlock new gadgets that provide more ways of taking out enemies, but also let you access areas that were previously inaccessible. Here I got the explosive gel, which you can blow up certain walls with. Like right by the Batmobile, I blew part of the ground open and found another trophy. I continued tracking Gordon by following his tobacco trail, beat up a few more guys, and went inside the medical building, where Harley was hiding out with Gordon behind an electric fence. So I went back outside, blew open part of the roof, entered in elsewhere, and continued forth inside the medical facility. After crawling through vents, I encountered another stealth section where I'd need to quietly take out a few red skeletons wielding guns.
Right.
Easy. I spoke to a redhead who, like all redheads, I assume was broken, but nothing that I can't fix, beat up a few more little bros, and blew up a couple walls to save another lady doctor who definitely isn't hiding anything. There were two more doctors to save. First was Dr. Chin, who I'm assuming does plastic surgery. I freed him by beating up even more guys, and second was Dr. Kellerman, who was trapped in a small room by the Joker's gas. So I turned on a couple fans, killed a Joker henchman for the greater good, and Max Kellerman was saved. Saving all three doctors was good for yet another achievement. A new type of bad guy was introduced who dual wields knives, and you have to stun before doing regular attacks. I returned to Lady Doctor number 1, and Lady Doctor 2 showed up saying she needed to go to the Arkham Mansion to retrieve her totally legit and not evil research. Then some more bad guys show up, providing me with another opportunity to go full Predator, and I don't mean the Minecraft YouTuber kind. After Batmaning my way through the bad guys dark nightly, I boarded an elevator where Joker correctly pointed out he could have just killed me, but Batman started coughing for a second, and a cutscene started where people seemed to be terrified and a strange figure was running around. I blew a hole in the wall and walked where I discovered Gordon was dead and Batman had demon eyes. The hallway was tilted and there were cockroaches and spooky sound effects. This is where Arkham Asylum turns into a horror game. Open one body bag. It's Batman's dad. Open another body bag. It's Batman's mom. Open a third body bag. Oh my god, it's John McCain. This is the first Scarecrow section where Spooky Monster Man is super big and you have to avoid his gaze. Simple enough. This first one is very easy, and I shine the light in Scarecrow's face, and bada bing, bada boom, we're done. I got another achievement. After leaving, I discovered that Gordon wasn't actually dead. Batman was just high as a kite. I knocked a guy out by punching him in the balls, crawled in a vent, and had another stealth section where I took out red skeletons while Harley was upstairs with Gordon. After choking out the last guy, I went upstairs and knocked her TF out. Then Batman discovered Bane hooked up to a bunch of tubes where he told us Dr. Young was experimenting on him. Then Joker presses a button and Nacho Libre gets real big and throws Batman through a wall where a boss fight begins. And almost immediately, I got cornered against a wall by Bane, hit a bunch of times, and died for my very first death of the playthrough. A death screen played where Bane pretended to be a chiropractor, then I gave the fight another shot. The boss fight itself isn't very hard. You just throw batarangs at him while he's charging, then once his health gets down to the bottom of the segment, you punch him a couple times. After the first phase, other henchmen jump in to lend a hand, and this did make it hard for me because at this point I still wasn't the greatest at combat, and now I also had a roided out monster man trying to kill me too. My second death was also pretty weak. My third attempt went much better, and I got Bane all the way down to the final phase. Unfortunately, I let him hit me with a big rock to bring my health to the red, but I still managed to finish him off without choking for yet another achievement. Rocks start falling on Bane, Batman escapes through a manhole, Gordon says howdy do, Bane runs through a wall and grabs Batman, but the Batmobile runs Bane over and knocks him into the water. Batman doesn't kill people, by the way. My next objective was to find the secret vacation bat cave on Arkham Island. So I ran to Arkham North where I found another Spider-Man logo message, then Batman did a death dive and scanned his face, and I was in the bat cave where right away I underestimated a gap and nearly fell to my death. Batman analyzes the Titan juice and traces it back to a mirror. I unlocked a new tool, the Bat Claw, which can grab and pull things, then skedaddled to the sewers. Find a few more secrets, beat some people up, go through a room where grapple doesn't work because everything's old, fight more guys outside, mess up, get sniped and die, and make my way into the Arkham Mansion. Just getting inside the mansion is enough to get another achievement, so that's cool. I fought a whole lot of guys in the mansion, dropped a big old chandelier through glass, talked to a guy who was still wearing a mask even though 2020 was 5 years ago. Oh no, the bad guys have collars now that tell the Joker when I knock them out. That's not ideal. This leads to a bunch of guys with firearms entering in another stealth section. I got an achievement here by tying one henchman upside down from a gargoyle, then spooking another henchman by dropping the first one down in front of him. Its title is Rope-a-Dope-a-Dope, which is a reference to a strategy often used by former heavyweight boxing champion Muhammad Atta. I talked to Aaron Currency about the doctor's whereabouts, found an interview tape with Scarecrow. I've been collecting trophies and things this entire time, by the way. At this point, I'd gotten achievements for completing 5% and 10% of the Riddler challenges, but I feel like it's a waste of time to mention every single thing I grab when you know that I'm gonna have to get them all at the end anyway, unless you're stupid. I continued sneaking around the mansion because for some reason the Insane Asylum Island has a mansion on it.
Actually, the lore reason for the mansion.
Shut up. We broke into Dr. Jung's office. Batman correctly guessed her password, cat123. And I found a video of her getting notes out of her safe. Batman scans her fingerprints and I track them through the mansion. This led me to the library where I fought off Flood, then found a book where Dr. Young had her formula for the Monster Man juice. Batman took a bad hit of something, then as I walked back through the hallway it started raining and Batman found his dead parents and morphed into a little boy, then entered a new area where Big Scarecrow appeared again and I had to avoid his gaze. I messed up and got caught not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 ice, but 5 times. Once again proving you don't have to actually be good at video games to be a video game YouTuber. Insert unrelated picture. This section, by the way, also introduces spooky, scary skeletons to fight. They all go down easily though. I hit Scarecrow with the light and somehow ended up at the top of the mansion. More importantly, surviving this encounter, ignoring the several times I didn't, got me yet another achievement. I continued on in my search for Mrs. Doctor. A new type of bad guy showed up with a glow stick, and I came across bald psycho McGillicuddy holding Dr. Young hostage. I had assumed I needed to get up high and get behind him, so I grappled upstairs and looked around for a way to get into the room, only to find nothing and enough time passed that Billy Howardell killed her and I lost. RIP. Then my next life, I realized I just had to throw a batarang at him. That was easy. And achievement worthy. I successfully saved Dr. Young's life, and after disavowing the Joker, she was now free to live a long and prosperous life. Oh. Angelica has the warden again and Batman's woozy. Let's try to see him wriggle his way out of this jam. Batman wriggles his way out easily. This time I was following the warden's trail. After taking out a few more armed henchmen, it led me back out to the island, which was now completely in control of the bad people. Following the trail, there's a bit of a tricky section where 2 henchmen have guns, but as they say, don't bring a gun to a fist fight. The warden's trail took me to the cell block where the vampires hang out. I saw my reflection in the bathroom, said Bloody Mary 3 times. What the fuck was that? We come across Poison Ivy, who begs Batman to let her out, but unfortunately for her, Batman is much stronger-willed than I would be. Holy shit. I found the warden tied up with Harley nowhere around, then she frees Poison Ivy anyway, so that's unfortunate, but on the bright side, I've never been more sure I can fix someone in my life. Joker then presses a button that releases all the PCP addicts, and the warden gives us codes that allow Batman to hack any computer panel in the asylum, once again making even more areas accessible to me by allowing me to deactivate electric gates and whatnot. The Green Mile, I love R.L. Stine. Harley electrifies the floor, so while it was charging up, I quickly ran into one of the cells because I figured the floor would turn off and on every few seconds. I was incorrect and it just stayed on. So I ran through the electricity to upstairs where I fought a few henchmen while Harley swung around like a wrecking ball. After taking out the second group, she fled and I gave chase until reaching another room where Harley roasted me.
Look who's finally turned up, the Dark Knight himself.
And I had to save a couple guards who were hanging over toaster water while a gas bomb was primed to go off. There was definitely a bit of pressure while hacking the door to leave. I destroyed a couple more teeth, grabbed another trophy, and found myself on yet another electrifiable floor with bad guys coming to fight me. Periodically, the floor lights up. When that happens, you just run to another area. Easy enough. After fighting the last group, Harley gets wrecked, Batman cops a feel, scans her handprint, and locks her in a cage, which gets me another achievement. I also found a Riddler secret map, which shows me the general location of every Riddler challenge solution in the area. That'll come in handy later when I come back to collect everything. I made it back to the great outdoors where the island was now overrun by complete lunatics, but as you can see, lunatics are still nothing but flesh and mind and bone too. Harley Quinn's fingerprints led me to the botanical garden, the one thing that makes even less sense for an asylum to have than a mansion. My journey into the gardens began with me bataranging a couple armed guards, then another stealth section. The first one in a while. And I must have been rusty because almost right away I tried tying up a henchman right by 2 other henchmen, which led me getting obliterated for another death. I sat at the death screen for quite a while. I don't remember why. I was probably busy busy playing Raid Shadow Legends. I sprung back into action, defeated all the henchmen, and proceeded by going the wrong direction, which took me to a room with a bunch more henchmen and a dude tied to a chair. After defeating the gang, I freed Billy Bob Thornton, went back the way I came, found the way I was supposed to go, and wound up in a room full of water that the Joker electrified. So I went back to the room I went to before with the guy in the chair, where I could there shut down the power and then go back to the water room and pass without a problem. I continued traversing my way through the botanical gardens until I came across a room with a couple hostages and giant bird cages, but in the hierarchy of flying, disease-carrying animals, bats win, and I was able to free them without a problem. Next up, G.I. Joker threw not one, but two monster men at me at once. It's only them though, no other guys jump in the fight like the last one against Bane before, so this was easy, but still achievement worthy all the same. My reward for this was getting another handy gadget called the line launcher that lets me zipline across gaps. I found Amaranth again and told her to put on pants. I pulled a guy down into a bottomless hole with the bat claw because although Batman has a problem with killing people, I don't. I had to go back the way I came, but all the rooms I'd already gone through previously were now full of even more enemies. All this did was slow down the inevitable, me once again getting outside. But first it's revealed Joker gave Poison Ivy plant steroids, so for the remainder of the game I'd have to deal with giant plants everywhere. I was now back outside and needed to return to the Arkham Mansion, which was right down the street. That was easy. Inside, the air was full of plant, but that wouldn't stop me from asking the one guard for directions, and he told me to go back to the first building in the game, a very dangerous request. I don't know how he expects me to get there with all the new hazards on the island. I made it back inside the first building in the game where there were now explosives on the gargoyles, meaning I had to be more creative in how I took out the armed gooners rather than just gargoyle camping the entire time. After clearing them out, I continued ahead until my game crashed again, as is tradition in Frog Arcus videos. My game restarted, except now was completely messed up and had me playing as Joker escorting crazy Batman through Arkham. After talking to Steam customer service for half an hour trying to get a refund, "Listen, the game's broken. I just want my money back."
Sir, please calm down.
I am calm. I decided to play out the bug game, only to realize it was actually just another Scarecrow sequence. How clever. This time around, I only got spotted once before showing him the light, then beat up a bunch of skeletons and shined him with a couple more lights to send the Scarecrow back to Oz and score another achievement. I dropped down an elevator shaft to the depths and made my way to the sewer, where Scarecrow threatened to poison everybody with bad magic mushrooms, but unfortunately for the Crow, the gun was loaded and he gets eaten by Killer Croc. This leads to the most calm and peaceful and not at all scary part of the game, where Croc is in the water hunting you and you're supposed to walk slowly to not alert him to your location. When he does realize where you are, he jumps out of the water and is like, "I'm gonna get you, Batman," while anxiety-inducing music plays. If I was Batman, I would probably just let Gotham die rather than have to go through this shit. Speaking of dying, I died once from accidentally line launching myself into the water, then died a second time because I learned the hard way that quick bataranging doesn't work, but that was it for deaths. I made it out and blew a hole in the ground. See ya later, Crocogator. Surviving Killer Crocodile Rock was good for another achievement. I resumed fighting non-crocodile mutated humans, went back to the Batcave to make a cure for the big people venom, and eventually got to some other room where stuff happened. I was kinda zoning out on the story at this point. I just know that I fought a few guys and had another stealth part than one of the toughest fights in the game, where Joker locks you in and makes you fight a 3-meter Titan and a bunch of regular guys at the same time. If you do manage to take out all the normal dudes, more just come in on an elevator. I hated this and died multiple times. I did at least get another achievement for knocking down 5 guys while riding a Titan. Finally, I was back on Arkham Island and needed to make my way to the gardens to stop Poison Ivy from doing Danger Zone things. On my way, I made a point to murder every plant I saw to hopefully scare her into submission, but unfortunately this didn't work. I went back inside the gardens where I killed more plants and discovered that Poison Ivy still wasn't wearing pants, but more importantly had given birth to a giant plant, and I had a boss fight on my hands, where there are leaves and twigs and the plant shoots red orbs at me. Then you get past the first wave and the plant starts spawning in simps to protect her, and I died. Then I fought her again and I didn't die. However, I regret to inform everyone that I could not in fact fix her. I did get an achievement though. The plants were now defeated, which meant it was time to punch more lunatics in the balls and go to a party Joker was throwing for me. At the entrance, there are a bunch of henchmen who welcome you and allow you to pass without fighting them. Unfortunately for them, there's an achievement to take them all out. Although on hard difficulty, this definitely isn't a cakewalk unless you're a sweaty loser. Sweaty loser defined as anyone who's better than me at a given game. That fight was good practice because next was the hardest fight in the entire game that easily mogs the actual final fight. We got 2 big hosses at once and a lot of other henchmen, where once again, taking out all the henchmen just causes even more to spawn in. However, as challenging as I found this, I only died twice. This means that the section of the game I died the most times was the second Scarecrow section, where literally all you have to do is not walk in his line of sight. Ay ay ay. Joker tries tickling Batman with a feather, then shoots himself R. Bud Dwyer style with a gun that turns him into a freak, but this final fight is incredibly easy. All you do is run away from Joker, fight henchmen, pull him down with the bat claw, and punch him a few times. Then repeat. Batman punches Joker in the face with a blow-up hand, and I unlock 3 achievements at once for beating the game on easy, normal, and hard. The main story was complete, but I was just getting started. To 100% the game, I'd need to get 3 medals or bat symbols on every challenge and finish doing all the Riddler stuff on the island. Not to mention there were a bunch of other achievements I had to get for just other miscellaneous things. I had most of the Riddler maps already, which like I said, show you the general location of each Riddler puzzle solution, whether that's a trophy, thing to scan, etc. So with those, completing the rest of the challenges wasn't hard at all. It just took time. Like I said, I never completed this game when I was younger, and that was mostly just because I didn't want to take the time to collect everything. I'm not done yet, but I will just take a second to say that this game's completion is pretty fun, and I'd recommend it if you're one of them completionist people. Fast forwarding, I solved the final Riddler puzzle by grabbing a trophy in the mansion, which unlocked the final Riddler achievement. I also found the 23rd Spirit of Arkham message and was tasked with using the clues to uncover who the Spirit of Arkham was. Since I paid zero attention to any of them throughout my playthrough, I just googled it and went to this Batman Satan circle to unlock the 24th and final message and another achievement. I did a couple miscellaneous achievements like glide continuously for over 100 meters, and another for catching a Batarang, which you can just do by flying a remote control Batarang back to Batman. I moved to the challenges, and my first task was a combat challenge. To get 3 bats, I'd need a score of 18,000, but I was mostly concerned with another achievement for just getting through a combat challenge without taking any damage, which I did on try number 3. The other type of challenge is a Predator challenge, where it's just one of the stealth sections, except you have specific objectives to knock out to get bat medals. I didn't worry about them this first attempt though, because there's an achievement for not being detected and knocking out every henchman in a Predator challenge with silent takedowns. Mission accomplished, achievement unlocked, so my next attempt I actually did the objectives, for example, like knocking one out by blowing up a wall, and I got all 3 medals. I used this challenge to get an achievement for performing a perfect combo using every one of Batman's combat moves. This one was the absolute worst for me. I'm not exactly sure why, but it took me over half an hour to get enough points for all 3 medals. But when I finally did, I did get my first challenge medal achievement, Free Flow Bronze, which you unlock by getting 8 medals on combat challenges. And the next Predator challenge, Survival Tactics, got me Predator Bronze. One benefit of the combat challenges is that it would show me the indicator to counter when someone was attacking me, which made combat way easier. So with that advantage on this challenge, I got the final Free Flow combo achievement for getting a combo of 40. And a Titan henchman spawns the last wave, so I also took the opportunity to beat him up without using Batarangs for that achievement. The following combat challenge, where it's back in the sewer except harder, got me the Free Flow Silver achievement. The next Predator challenge got me Predator Silver. I had 2 more combat challenges, one back on the Shock Place, which also sucked, but I got through. Then a return to Rumble in the Jungle, which was incredibly easy and got me the Free Flow Gold achievement for getting every medal on combat challenges. I completed the final Stealth challenge to get the Predator Gold achievement, but more importantly, that was the last thing for me to do in this game. I unlocked the achievement for 100%ing the game itself, and checking my Steam achievements, I had done everything. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Oh hey, there's DLC. No thanks. If you like this video, then click the one on screen to see another one from me. I promise you it's good. Unless it's my Dead Space Ignition video, that one sucked.